here from Hollywood Smoke in the beautiful city of Santa Monica. I'm Steve Kim, joined by Michael Montero and Doug Fischer. This is 10 Count. Guys, on the night of July 23rd at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, there was a junior welterweight unification, and it was Terence Crawford capturing the WBC and WBO belts by clearly outpointing Viktor Postol. Mike, I don't want to give myself too much credit, but I got to pat myself on the back. Did I not say this fight was better on paper than on canvas?
You did.
Did.
You said that on every one of the 8,000 platforms that you're on.
Yeah.
And you weren't the only one, by the way. I mean, I think, Doug, both of us felt this was going to be a tactical kind of fight.
Yeah, I mean, I was hopeful, but it was one of those matchups style-wise where you weren't quite sure how it was going to make for a thriller.
Well, that's a
you
kind
couldn't
way
see
of
that.
putting it.
You know what? You could say, okay, hopefully it'll be an intense chess match. These guys will come forward and try to make something happen. But you know what? Sometimes when one guy is that much better of an athlete, and that much better in terms of his versatility and his overall class, he can choose to make it sort of an easy fight.
Guys, Boris Spassky and Bobby Fischer are very, very insulted by comparing this to a chess match.
That's true.
But I'll say this. I give Crawford a bit of a pass because I don't want to say that he's like Rigondeaux. Number one, Crawford has a history of some exciting moments.
Yorioka Gamboa, that was a hell of a fight.
Also the way he finished against Hank Lundy. Also, Viktor Postol, he's the constant here. He's a boxer. He's very calculating. And you could just tell from the very beginning, Mike, Postol was not comfortable playing the role of the lead dog in this fight.
Absolutely. And in my prediction for this fight, I thought it would be even through 8, and then Crawford would finally land something, and then the fight would change and be all Crawford. That happened. It just happened earlier. I think it was the 5th round.
Yeah.
It was an even fight at that point, very tactical. But once Crawford hurt Postol,
It was over.
It was done. And look, it's a two-way street. We can't put this all on Crawford. Postol wasn't exactly lunging at him and trying to make a fight of it. Really until the 12th round.
You know what I call it? Passive aggression. Because, Doug, even though Crawford was backing up, and he certainly was, and at times it became a full-blown retreat, Postol was not exactly stalking like Tommy Hearns. He was doing just enough to give the impression that he was coming forward.
Right.
But I wouldn't exactly call what he did relentless.
No, not at all. He wanted to come forward. He wanted to try to make a fight of it. He didn't know how to make a fight of it. He didn't have the tools to really compete with Bud on the inside. And Bud had already neutralized him from the outside. So what was he going to do? He just had to pretend to be a fighter and at least come forward and at least, you know, give the impression that he's the guy who wanted to fight.
You know, the other thing about Postol stylistically, you just look at his stature. There's not a lot of 5'11", 140-pounders. So, you know, to me, this might be a bit of an anomaly. But, Doug, as someone who saw the metamorphosis of Floyd Mayweather from being a very exciting, yes, kids, he was actually exciting at 130, to the money Mayweather he became at 147, as Crawford faces bigger, stronger men who punch a little bit better, question is this the new normal for Bud Crawford?
I'm going to give Crawford the benefit of the doubt. I think his temperament is one that if you can make it a fight, if you can get inside and actually do something about it, which Postol was not able to do, if you can actually get in there and hurt him, I think his temperament is to fight back. I think he is more of a natural fighter than Mayweather is. And as you said, he's been in exciting fights in the past, and I just think you put him in with the right opponent. If you were to have Lucas Matisse in with Terence Crawford, I think you would get a thriller. Yeah. And he would not just outclass the strong man, the puncher. He would try to fight fire with fire. That's what I believe.
But following up on that, you know, his treatment of the media, particularly his hometown media, which he's dependent on to help build himself up, and some of the way he answers questions and the way that comes off to fans, I think somebody at Top Rank needs to do some coaching with Crawford because these fighters need to realize they need us to promote them. Promoters are interested in promoting events, not fighters.
Well,
we do that.
When it comes to pay-per-view, I've come to this realization. Fighters don't have to like the media. They don't have to like us. But when it comes to pay-per-view, I do think it is a prerequisite to go through the meat grinder. We've seen Oscar De La Hoya do it, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, you don't have to do it. You don't have to gladly do it.
But it is your bottom line at stake. And I heard this pay-per-view did well under 50,000. That affects the Terence Crawford bottom line. Now, with that said, though, I don't do pound-for-pound lists, but when I see Terence Crawford and I see his adaptability and his versatility, I think it's clear, Mike, he is certainly among the very elite practitioners of this sport.
Absolutely. I have him right in the bubble of my top 5. You know, everyone's criteria is different for these lists, right? But if you look at him now, he's won titles in 2 different weight classes. He's unified titles. He's now the linear champ at 140. The 2 top guys fought in this fight. So he meets all those criteria. You have to put him up there. The question is, who is there at 140 pounds for Crawford to fight right now? I think he's going to have to move up to welterweight pretty soon.
Yeah, and I think he can probably do that. For a lot of his recent fights, he'd weigh in at 140, and then on fight night, he's 157 pounds.
And he was heavier than Postol during the whole promotion.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, when they weigh in, you know, before they step into the arena, you know, for television, you know, a lot of times they have shoes on. They have clothes on or whatever, and it's not like a precise scale or whatever. But still, he's putting on a lot of weight after the weigh-in. It would suggest that he can carry 147 pounds comfortably. And I think that was part of the reason of this fight. You know, there are some pay-per-view fights that are meant to be events that make money, and there are other pay-per-view fights that are basically put together because it was the only way to get 2 top fighters to fight each other, to pay them what they want to be paid to make the fight. So it's about making the fight and hopefully advancing the career of the A-side fighter.
And the other
in this case, it was
issue,
Bud.
as they wrap this up, which I think is going to be problematic for Terence Crawford, I've thought for the last year or so, alongside Tim Bradley, another top-ranked stablemate, I believe that they were more affected by the fractured nature of this business. If you look at the landscape, guys, at 140 to 147 of the dance partners, and you say, wow, that'd be a good fight. I'd like to see that one absolutely. They're all at PBC.
Right.
And until I see absolute evidence, and Mayweather-Pacquiao does not count, until Mr. Arum and Mr. Heyman actually get together and make a fight without a sanctioning body mandating.
Mandatories.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you right now, he could be on the outside looking in.
I think that Grandpa Bob and Uncle Al have called a truce. I don't see them working together yet. This is literally just a truce right now. Like you said, until we see fighters coming across and working together, that's all it is.
Right, it's like the Bloods and the Crips. They might have a truce, they might not do drive-by shootings, but they're not breaking bread either. So anyway, on behalf of Doug Fischer and Michael Montero, this is Steve Kim. This has been 10 Count.